Our top story tonight, some going down in November.
Wars, spending.
There has got to be something big a-brewing.
They're using geese to guard prisons in Brazil.
Does Biden know what
Immigration
Mexico
policies.
is? Would you scare Joe Biden? What are we laughing at?
I think Billy Mays was real.
I'm a world-class skeptic.
I don't know anything about Hunter Biden. I don't know who's big into cocaine and laptops. Why is that our problem?
Complete, absolute incompetence. Like, who funds the news?
It's a freaking inside job, man. That the entire world's a stage and everything's fake.
Welcome back to another edition of the Veritas Road. Carson back here with Murph, and for the first time in a long time, we're not doing a shit on the news episode, but before we get started, we have very frustrating news. Our Twitter account that we were using got banned for alleged spam.
That's right. And not the kind of fake meat that you fry.
Right.
We're talking about the fishing, the scariest thing in the world,
Right.
spam,
Right.
right? Were
Yeah.
we fishing? We may or may not have been. Somebody could have interpreted that way, and they were just keeping their company safe, I guess.
Maybe so.
I just took that in a rogue tangent to try and make it feel a little better. We got banned. Maybe it was something we posted. Maybe we were just that edgy.
Maybe.
Maybe it's because we only had like 300-something followers and we posted a frick ton of stuff.
That could be as well.
But it sucks. So
Yeah.
follow us back on our new Twitter.
Please, at the Veritas Road Pod on Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's called. Elon, if you're listening, give us our old account back.
I tried to
You
call him.
autistic.
Y'all were there when I tried to call him.
Yeah, we did
Right.
try to. We tried to call Elon Musk. He didn't answer.
It was just.
But we did attempt to call Elon Musk. The effort was made.
It was SpaceX phone number, and I tried to go through all the options. You know how you press 1 for this, 2 for that, but we didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
It's too bad. Any other housekeeping stuff we need to talk about other than the Twitter getting banned?
Yeah, I mean, just a quick thank you to everyone who followed us back very quickly.
Oh yeah, we're
gained
back
a
up
few.
to what,
We
like
got
13 followers now?
so appreciate those who
Yeah, thanks guys.
saw
We,
my
we do
message
appreciate
and
it.
responded.
Yeah. So we got to build that whole
That's right.
effing platform back up. It's going to be a blast.
Year and a half's worth of work down the drain, but that's how it goes in this new censorship world we live in.
And these companies can just ruin you at like the snap of their fingers. It's crazy.
As I love to say, we can just build our own Twitter. I mean, we live in America, free market capitalism.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Let's do it, man.
We're going to build our own Twitter.
You can
heard
code.
it here first.
You can fix computers, so we can probably do it.
I can't fix computers. But anyway, tonight we're going to be talking about the Tunguska Explosion, which I didn't know anything about a week and a half ago. So we're just going to jump right into that, I guess.
Well, I mean, we got I made a huge list of topics to talk about on this podcast. You know, when we got back into it, and this is just a fun. This isn't gigantic hordes of death, terrible cover-ups, demons. It's kind of a weird mystery. It's not as dark as some of the other things. So it's pretty interesting, man. What sucks about it is it happened so long ago. I don't know. You want to tell the
Yeah.
background? You want me to tell the background?
Well, so I'll start, and then you just jump in when it's appropriate, I guess. So in 1908, to the best of my knowledge, somewhere around Siberia, correct? There was just like a massive explosion, and the locals obviously didn't know what it was because it was 1908, and they didn't have the Hubble Space Telescope. They didn't do science back then, and so the first expedition didn't actually make it out to Tunguska, to the best of my knowledge, until the 20s, until around 1927. But as far as the actual event occurred, I mean, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
All right, yeah. So we're talking Russia, middle of nowhere, okay? It's like there's 7 time zones in Russia. It's bigger than America, 60 degrees north in 1908 on June 30th at 7 in the morning, so there's nobody there. But but according to these people, as Carson said, they interviewed them like way later, so take it with a grain of salt. There was in the morning, so it was bright, like a blue fireball that went from horizon to horizon that was as bright as the sun and extremely, extremely, extremely hot. All right, so and then right after that, in the middle of nowhere, it blew up 860 square miles of trees. which to put that in perspective, we live in a county in Tennessee that's 600 and something square miles. So we were blowing up an entire county of Tennessee.
Yeah, I heard. Well, I heard somewhere that it's like the same size as like the Houston metropolitan area, or something like that.
That's probably about right. I mean,
Yeah.
it's freaking gigantic.
Massive.
It's gigantic.
Massive.
It's bigger than all of Shelby County as well. So just imagine all of Memphis. I know we may rejoice for that, but getting blown up. Okay, every tree stripped of its leaves and burnt. Freaking crazy stuff. Now they say it was a meteor, but
Yeah, the official story is that it was a meteor that came into the Earth's atmosphere. It was supposed to be like super large, like 60 feet or something
dude,
like that.
I wrote it down. 200 feet wide.
200. Oh, man, I was
Okay.
way off.
So that's like what? Like, I don't know, half a football field or something. Traveling at Mach 80. So first of all, how do they know this? How do they know this in 1908? Mach 80 is 61,000 miles an hour. It's all right. So
Mach 80?
that's what they said. That's what it literally says that on Wikipedia. So like
A 200-foot piece of rock traveling at Mach 80.
yeah, and then it airburst. So it like broke up in the air. As they say, everything does.
Yeah.
It didn't have a space shuttle heat shield on it, I guess, because that would have saved it.
That would have saved it.
Right.
SpaceX, NASA.
And then it busted up into a million fragments and then blew up 800 square miles of woods.
Yeah, and the locals said they heard like 8 explosions or something like that.
Yeah, it was so loud that people heard it from thousands of miles away. They even say that the next few days, the night sky was glowing in Europe and Asia, glowing blue. And then Wikipedia tried to say that was a bunch of ice particles.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically we've got a gigantic explosion around the turn of the century. We don't know what it is. The expeditions they sent out there were like way later. First of all, in Soviet Russia, so this could all be Soviet propaganda. So who even knows? Just freaking wild. And a similar thing happened in 2013. Do you know that?
I did not.
So,
Well, so before we get into that, another fun statistic for you about the actual explosion. Allegedly, the explosion was tantamount to 15 megatons of TNT, or 1,000 times more powerful than the Hiroshima bomb.
yeah, I've never understood
According to the internet.
what a megaton is. What is that unit?
I don't know. People just throw that out there like people know what it is. That's another thing that bothers me about things like this. Is they'll be just, it was a 15 megaton explosion, and all the like rednecks and dads will be like, "Oh hell yeah, that was big," you know. But I don't know what a megaton is.
Isn't mega million in the metrics? So a million tons of TNT.
Maybe. I don't know.
I would guess. So how much is one TNT?
That's 1 ton of TNT, I guess, in this case.
Just a 1 pound. I guess 1 pound. What is like a stick of dynamite? Is that how many of those? I guess is what I'm at. That's what.
Yeah,
I'm
well, that's what no one knows because they don't delineate it that way.
Yeah, it's freaking wild.
Just ridiculous the way they describe this. All right, okay. The event that
Yeah.
happened in 2013.
Yeah. So in 2013, there's video of this. I don't know if John, if you want to pull it up. Well, you're gonna have to pull it up because I can't pronounce it. All right. So just Google Ural Mountain meteoroid or meteorite, whatever. And what have you been looking up? What is this? Trump. Yeah. In 2013, it's like Tunguska bias. No, Ural. Ural, like U-R-A-L.
Oh. I'm sorry.
I also would have spelled Euro, John.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's from 2000. Yeah, that's it right there.
okay.
This one right here.
All right.
Chilean
So this is-
Blask.
oh yeah, I read about this.
Yeah.
I heard about this.
Let's watch this. Let's just imagine the Tunguska is kind of like this, but bigger. Because I say this was only 60 feet.
That's what I was remembering, maybe.
Dude, that's crazy.
What in the world?
All right.
That looks fake to me.
Well, they're claiming it's real.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's not real. It just looks so wild. It looks fake. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the reason I wanted to bring this up is to compare.
No, let that play again, John. That's crazy. Sorry for the dead air, folks, but this is wild to see. I don't know if y'all are like.
Our
I
podcast
don't know if
listeners.
folks are watching.
The podcast listeners are kind of screwed. Just look it up while we're.
It's
sitting
just a
here.
giant fireball coming out of the sky, leaving this like burning trail in the air.
Comes out of nowhere too. Like, why isn't it starting in the whole horizon?
Because it's traveling at Mach 80, bro. What the
Oop.
hell just happened?
It's the end of the video.
Oh.
Oh,
No, it wasn't.
Oh, well, they just put this random gray screen.
that's excellent.
There
What
we go. All right.
Flying. That was weird. That's so bright.
Yeah, but this didn't damage anything. I mean, so it just didn't damage like any. It made a big like shockwave and like broke a bunch of windows in buildings, but
Yeah.
it didn't blow up 860 square miles of woods. Even though they say this one was 60 feet, so proportionally, wouldn't you think a 60-foot one would blow up like 300 square miles of woods? They say the same thing happened, that it was an airburst.
Well, was it coming at Mach 80 or whatever? Or, maybe
I
it was
mean-
coming slower.
Well, that doesn't make any sense either. Why? I guess in their paradigm, they're. Oh, good Lord, that scared me to death, John. It was loud. In their paradigm, there's no friction in space, right? So I guess wherever it broke off of 500 billion years ago is how fast it's been traveling the whole time.
Right.
So there's
Yeah.
nothing that's been slowing it down. So they do they travel at different speeds? I guess, but
You would
shouldn't
think.
but shouldn't
yeah.
the sun? Shouldn't once Earth's gravity capture it, it all starts traveling at the same speed? That don't make any sense to me either.
Not if it's coming in faster, because it should. Conceptual. The idea is it's going like faster than what terminal velocity would be in the atmosphere when it
Way faster.
enters into Earth's atmosphere, and so it just slows down. So it would depend on like the angle of incidence, so what angle it's coming in at, and then how quickly it's coming in when it hits the atmosphere. According to a mainstream
But
paradigm.
don't they say the whole reason it comes in at all is because Earth's gravity captures it?
Well, yes,
So then why is it not slowed down, I guess is what I'm saying.
it probably is slowed down.
So it was going at like Mach 7 billion?
Right? Yeah, or something crazy like that. Yeah, that's the idea. So it's probably going at Mach 83 before it hit the atmosphere.
So gravity slows it down in a frictionless environment.
Well, gravity doesn't slow it down.
Well,
It's
it
the
ha-
friction that slows it down. If it's
Then why does gravity attract it? See what I'm saying?
yeah,
It should
well, it's
ju-
not going fast enough to escape the gravity. The gravity just pulls it in. It changes its trajectory. It doesn't slow it down, unless it's
But
moving
that's
away from the Earth.
Don't you have to slow down if you change trajectory?
It's space. Rules don't apply.
Yeah, that's dumb. I'm pretty sure that you absolutely have to slow down if you're changing. I didn't take physics, but that seems logical to me.
It is in like a traditional arc, in like on the
Yeah.
Earth, but the idea would be in space. It's simply like it's simply changing direction, not necessarily slowing down. Yeah.
Well, that blows
If it
my
would slow
mind.
down at all, it wouldn't be very much.
Blows my mind. I don't see how it's possible. I guess that's not the point of this.
It's not.
But the point is like, why could we explain the dramatic differences between those two things? Because in this in the Tunguska thing, in this second thing, I can't say it. Cherla blast.
I don't know. I
Just
couldn't
say
read the
Ural
name.
Mountain.
In the
That's
Ural
way
Mountain
easier.
one, yeah. Apparently not, because you wrote Euro.
It's because
Sorry,
you
I had to
said
get-
Euro.
Yeah.
In the Ural Mountain one, like it fragmented, and the
Right.
kids like went out and got a bunch of tiny rocks because they saw holes in the snow, and then it punched like a big old 8-foot hole in the ice.
Well, if
in
it
a lake.
wait. I thought you just said it was another airburst that exploded. So why did it punch a hole?
That's what I'm saying. There's all kinds of inconsistencies.
Maybe those were just fragments that broke off before the airburst.
Yeah. I guess it could be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's the name of this? Scroll back up for a second. Chelyabinsk. Why are these all happening in Russia? Like, what's their deal? Why do
Yeah,
all the meteors come there?
I guess you could argue because Russia is the
the
biggest
largest, yeah.
landmass, but it's not that much bigger than the U.S. and Canada and China. Like, you'd think the same thing would happen somewhere in, like, remote, northwest territories of Canada.
Right.
Like, and why is none of this happening in the frickin' South either? It's very bizarre, man.
Yeah. And if you go back, the wild thing to me about this was just looking at the aftermath of the actual Tunguska event, because there are pictures from back then, and just like 800 square miles of forest are flattened and splayed out, like from an epicenter somewhere.
Yeah, but they
And
say
it's
there's
so
no.
weird to
They
look
say
at.
there's no impact crater.
Right, they do. Yeah, they do.
Let's-
They say there's no impact
let's,
crater
like,
either.
can
Well,
we-
because it was an airburst, right? Allegedly, so there wouldn't be a crater. I guess it would just blow all the trees down.
I don't know, John. Can we pull up the Wikipedia article and maybe like read the description just
And then
to get a
One of the other weird things, because I was listening to I listened to a long ass podcast about this. They they alleged that like there's not much iridium in the soil, but the proof that it was a meteorite was there's a larger amount of iridium in the soil around the area now than there would traditionally have been, because apparently meteors are rich in iridium.
Yeah, that's freaking begging the question, right?
Okay.
How would it, well that's saying because meteorites are rich in iridium, there would be iridium left on the ground. There's iridium left on the ground, therefore it was a meteorite. Like there could be other causes of that.
Yeah, but I don't know what else they would be.
I'm just saying it doesn't prove anything.
It doesn't necessarily prove anything,
John,
but it makes sense.
Could you go down a little bit? But how do they know there's iridium in meteorites anyway? Like,
Well, the concept would be, hey, we saw this fall, we got a piece of it, we looked at it, it had a lot of iridium in it.
dude, there's like all kinds of sketchiness. Like people like the government's all about taking those things up when they fall.
They are, which is weird.
Like, why can't you just keep it if it's just some random rock from space?
We
that
got to study it
happens-
for science.
Happens all the time. There's something really weird going on with these falling rocks. Like, I don't know. Maybe we can talk about that at the end. John, I wanted to go down a little more because there were some. I feel like there were some 33s in this. I guess it was down in the investigation. They were like finding. Oh yeah. The biggest tree that got blown up was like 3 feet 3 inches. That was the biggest tree that got blown up. There's a bunch.
Fair enough.
So I don't know. And it ranged from 3 to 30 megatons. It's another one right there. Like
What range from 3 to 30 megatons?
Go up. Estimates of its energy has ranged from 3 to 30 megatons of.
Where did I get
TNT.
150 then?
Well, it might have been the petajoules. Okay, clearly.
What is a petrojoule?
Maybe that's the Russian crap that they use. I don't know.
I don't know. Oh no, I had 15. Sorry. All right, that's different.
That's in the range.
Yeah,
but
that's within there.
just multiple 33s in it as well. I think there was another one too that they like found in the lake in like 2013. So like the latest, also another strange thing that the latest investigation on this was in 2013. The same.
Well, it's supposedly like super remote
Yeah,
where it happens.
60 degrees north in the middle of Siberia. Are you
Yeah.
even allowed to go there?
I mean, I would imagine so. People went there.
Probably extremely hard to get to.
Yeah. So the first person who went. Hold on, I got his name here. Leonid Kulik. He was a mineralogist sent to investigate, and they had to go like during a specific time of the year so that the snow was still like thick enough that they could walk on it, but it wasn't melting, so that the area turned into a complete swamp. And at a certain point, they had to like take sleds or some like they couldn't just like drive up there. They had to like sled up there.
Yeah, it's in the middle. Siberia is like the most remote place on Earth,
Yeah.
so that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think caused it? That's what everyone wants to hear, right? That's the big juicy.
I mean, I don't know. That's such a big thing. I have a hard time even speculating, because what the hell would cause that? You know? Lightning from heaven? I don't know.
Yeah, man.
The best I got is a meteor. Like, that's the best I got.
Well, what wasn't it once a meteor?
I don't know.
Like, because given my cosmological understanding, there is no space. The Earth is enclosed. So is this like pieces of the dome that's falling down? Are there other things whirling around up there, clashing into each other? I've even heard that I've heard this recently, that the gods have some kind of like flying city that could be flying around up there, and that could be one of the dark bodies in the sky, and that can relate to Nibiru and Planet X and stuff. So it could be a piece of that falling down, and maybe that's why the government is so big. I mean, I don't know, man. It's freaking crazy. Another option is, John. All right, if you put this into Google, we'll see what comes up. Google where was Nikola Tesla on June 30th, 1908.
What the hell?
Yeah. So maybe this is just because so many people search it, but I have my doubts. Look
Where was he?
He was in his laboratory at Wardenclyffe Tower on Long Island, New York. But look what's linked to this. Why would this be linked to it?
Because it's the same day, right?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
But,
so why is
but
that?
there could
weird?
be a bunch of, like, why... If I Google where was, I don't know, where was George Bush on freaking whenever the Challenger disaster happened, you think that would come up?
I don't know. There are probably a lot more recorded events during that period of time. That's what's like less strange about this, is because it was so long ago. There aren't as many like events on Google's radar from 1908. There are going to be a few very specific things that happened around then. So of course it's going to like pull up those events.
I feel like June 30th, 1908 is not like a famous date, like, you know,
well, it's
9/11.
famous because of the Tunguska event, which is probably why it comes up that way.
I don't know, maybe. But I mean, where I was going with that is Nikola Tesla had allegedly invented a death ray, and of course Trump. Now, they say he didn't invent it to the 1930s, but maybe he'd been testing it. And Trump's uncle seized all of his work, who worked for the FBI and seized all of his stuff right after he died.
Now, that part's weird. That's weird. I mean, do you think it was Nikola Tesla's death ray? He was he was in his laboratory.
It could have been, man, because think about how what that Ural Mountain one, the video of that, and then think about like the image of the Death Star from Rogue One,
which I haven't seen.
Like, oh yeah, I forget. I'm pretty sure this has come up on the podcast before that you haven't seen Rogue One. Well, think about the image of the fake Death Star from the new one.
Okay.
Right? Of that laser just coming out of something. And think about the dews, you know, the idea of directed energy. I mean, could you not think it could be like scientific fire from heaven, you know, fire from heaven in the Bible?
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm just not buying that. I don't believe in the cosmological ideas of meteor space rocks, so I'm just trying to figure out what could possibly do this.
I mean, that's such a tough question because that literally opens it up to the idea of anything could have happened. Anything. I don't know. And because it was so long ago and there's so few eyewitness accounts, it's borderline impossible to nail down. Like that Randall Carlson guy, whatever his name is, he did a long pod about this, and he was talking about how like this opened up the field of, I think it was like astroforensics or something like that, for people to investigate astrological, events.
No, astronomical.
Astronomical.
Yeah.
Astronomical events after the fact, which seems crazy to me. Because how are you going to do that? I guess looking for iridium dust on the ground, or so they found dust on trees after the fact. They were like, oh, there was iridium or some like clay or some in the dust on the trees afterwards in the sap, and that's how we know it was X, Y, or Z.
Yeah, like way later, and you don't know.
Well, yeah, it was. When was the first expedition? So
1927.
19 years later at the earliest.
But everybody is coming at it from like a view of, hey, we know that there's a vacuum of space. We know that there's flying rocks going around in it, you know.
Yeah.
They're all coming at it from a bias already. So to me, that kind of doesn't really get you anywhere in terms of truly investigating.
Well, I mean, I guess the reason because we talked about this beforehand, and I was like, I don't find it that interesting. The reason I don't find it that interesting is because it's impossible to know. Like, I can sit here and speculate for days about, like, oh, maybe it was a UFO. Maybe it was lightning from heaven. Maybe it was, a piece of the dome. Maybe it was, just a giant piece of ball lightning. Maybe it was the ether that coalesced for some reason and exploded. Maybe it was Margaret Thatcher's dick back from the dead. I don't know, but we can sit here and speculate on that ad nauseum, But what does that really like? Where does that really get us? Other than it's kind of cool. It could have been Zeus. Could have been a alien spaceship exploding over a forest. Could have been a piece of a planet. Could have been the dome. Where does that get us, though?
I mean,
because you seem to find this very interesting, and the idea of
it's
speculating
cool.
about it like super fascinating, and I don't understand.
It's cool. It's fun to try to figure stuff out or what it could be. I mean, it's not particularly practical. I mean, you shouldn't like lose sleep over it.
To me, it's like tantamount to the way some people will talk about like what happened if Goku and Superman would fight. Like I don't know.
Well,
we can talk about it, but I don't really care.
This is actually real, as opposed to that.
Well, I mean, sure, but you understand my point.
I guess if you're trying to glean like practical information about it, like what would be best to determine if it's even remotely possible, which is probably not, is if this was natural or not. Because if they have the power to do that, like create an explosion that big, that's concerning. If that's just something that happens on the Earth every now and then, that's a little more understandable or less terrifying to me than the fact that if they have the technology to do this. But
Okay, let's look at this from a practical perspective then. Let's assume that there is actually a lot of iridium there unnaturally. Let's assume they didn't lie about that. What is iridium used for, and why would it be there?
I don't even know what iridium is. Is that like plutonium or something?
Iridium's radioactive, isn't it?
I don't know. What does that
Look
even
that up,
mean,
John.
dude?
I mean, it's one of the like heavier elements.
Yeah, but what does that mean? If there's a bunch of electrons on it, like, and nobody's even seen an electron. It's all freaking math.
All right. Well, we can discuss that some other time. But let's
Well,
assume there's a bunch of that there. What does that mean?
Well, I'm trying to I don't know what it means because I don't know what that stuff is. I mean, what does it even?
It's the same concept as like, what if there was a bunch of sand in here? I could be like, well, what is even sand? I don't know what sand is. But
Well,
let's assume there's a bunch of that there.
big-
Why is it there?
Big
It is
difference.
radioactive.
There you go. All right.
The big difference is we can, touch and feel and see sand as opposed to uridium. So I'm having a really hard time even granting you that premise just because I don't understand it. Like does that? Are you trying to lead to the fact that you think there was a nuclear bomb before the?
I don't know. Maybe it was an alien spaceship. Maybe it was a piece of the
Before-
dome, and that's made out of iridium. Maybe it was a piece of this planet that's actually like some super heavy, dense rock that's radioactive. I don't know. I still don't know because it's impossible to know, but that's at least, something if we assume that they were correct about there being some kind of dust there.
Well, that would imply that it's not a natural event, then, right? Oh, did they find this uridium in the other one, or in the
I
other
don't know.
little ones? I don't know either. You've kind of scolded me in the speculating. Like, what's the point of even doing it?
Well, I mean, I just like it.
You don't find it interesting at all?
I just don't understand the point.
It's cool. I mean, the fact that 860 square miles just blew up and evaporated.
That is
And,
wild.
I mean, you don't
like
think-
that is absolutely insane.
And this Cherublask one, you don't think that video is crazy?
That
Like,
video is insane. Yeah.
What's causing that? You don't think that's cool to try and figure out?
How are we gonna try and figure that out? You got a telescope we can look at?
I don't know. We can try to.
What's your best
Well-
theory? Let's hear your best theory.
My best theory is that it's something that falls. It could a piece of either some kind of electrical discharge because there's like something building up. What do they call that? Like how you build up when you like scoot across the carpet in your socks and you touch a doorknob.
Static electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You get
yeah.
that. Okay.
That is happening on a gigantic scale, and every so often, like stuff will blow off the top of the dome. Kind of like mega lightning, and that's what these shooting stars are, and these meteorites, and some kind of electrical discharge. That's probably my best running theory.
Seem to move too slow to be electrical discharge, though.
I mean, maybe, but what kind of? I don't know. We don't really understand the distances though, because like. Is there other electric stuff that moves that slow? Is not
Not that I'm aware of.
Is every kind of electrical discharge instant?
I mean,
was-
it's not all completely instant. Like,
like-
you can see lightning move through the
Right,
sky, but
like what about
it's never
a
that slow.
But what about like a fuse? Could it be something like that? A traveling. You ever seen like you'll light a long fuse of TNT? You know,
Well, it would have to have something to. Well, that's not electricity.
why not? Well, I mean, I know that a fuse is not electricity, but why couldn't there be something like that happening on like a really big scale in the sky?
A giant fuse in the sky,
Yeah, there's something that acts like a fuse. I don't know.
like some
Because
kind of gas.
just because of the huge difference in potential, right? In the really high and the really low. And basically it just follows the path of least resistance to equalize itself. I don't know. And maybe it could be like some kind of object that gets caught up there and creates. I don't freaking know. It's that's why it's fun to talk about. That's probably my leading theory, is it's some kind of electrical thing.
Well, and where'd all these bits and pieces come from?
Yeah, it could be. I actually just heard today of like, all of these ancient gods. Remember when Peter and Paul were like in Acts when they were coming to Athens, and everybody thought they were gods coming down from the sky to talk to them,
Yeah.
right? And you hear all of these stories in like ancient, South America about gods coming down from the sky and like flying craft, all the ancient aliens kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like perhaps whatever these original entities were could have some kind of technology where they can fly around, right? And maybe they're just constantly been doing it. I mean, you're going to laugh at me when I say this, but it's even like the idea of Rayquaza in Pokemon, how Rayquaza is always in the sky and never lands.
I don't know what that is. Man.
It's from Pokemon Emerald.
I got that it was from Pokemon.
One of the best Pokemon in the game. He's a dragon type. He shows
Like a shark, but in the sky, never stops moving.
Right. And he shows up when Kyogre and Groudon are fighting, and he stops their fighting. But anyway, the idea, well, I mean, laugh all you want, but Pokemon is based on like, all of them are based on cultural legends, pretty much, or animals.
I was laughing at you
So-
getting lost in the story.
Oh yeah, and Pokemon. Oh hey, I grew up on that stuff. Anyway, but it could be whatever they're flying on, whatever technology they have. Maybe sometimes they get drunk and run into the dome, and it comes. I don't know. We don't know what's happening up there. Maybe they're not completely perfect, and occasionally they got problems, and they screw up and they lose
Get a DUI in the sky.
right, or one of their ships crashes. I'm serious, dude. I'm serious. It could be one of their piece of technology crashing. There's just so much we don't freaking know about. There's so much we don't know about.
Well, and that, I think, lends credence to the idea of there being like a lot of metal dust in the area, because if there is like some kind of otherworldly, like, pseudo deified spacecraft flying around, it's probably made out of some weird like iridium or element. What is it,
Yeah.
like 113 or something? And so, I mean, I think that lends some credence to the concept.
Yeah, I think it's either got to be some kind of natural electrical phenomenon or some kind of technology that they have that went wrong. I just know it's not
I
what
think
they
all meteors are that.
No, maybe all of these big ones. Obviously the shooting stars that you can go out and see, in the summertime, and they've got like, what are they called? Selenoids or Seleucids or whatever they call them. They're
Perseids.
Yeah, Perseid. That's a good one.
That is a meteor shower.
Yeah, well, they're cyclical and they can predict them. So I think that's probably some sort of electrical discharge. Maybe like reverse sprite or reverse elves. Sprite and elves are like types of lightning.
Right.
Crazy rare types of lightning, dude. And they're freaking cool looking. For anybody who doesn't know what they are, you should look them up. They're some of the rarest photographed things on Earth. And they all stop at 62.5 miles, by the way. But anyway, it could be some kind of, the little ones are like that, but the big ones, and these big ones don't seem to be predictable. So it could be something entirely different.
Well, I mean, you would think it would be.
Yeah, and they just attribute it to a space rock that's going at Mach 80. I mean, come on. What's the fastest thing we've ever built? Like the the Blackbird? How fast the SR-71 Blackbird go, John? Isn't that the fastest thing humans have ever built, according to mainstream? I mean, that's only like 3,000 miles an hour or something? I mean, so all right, Mach 9.6. Fastest thing we've ever made has gone 7,000 miles an hour. And they claim that a rock just
Pretty
from
fast.
nowhere comes in at 61,000 miles an hour. I mean, almost 10 times faster than anything we've ever made ever. It's not that. You know, the whole model is completely, broken and designed to keep us nihilistic. And probably, I mean, many-faceted, but probably one of the reasons is to hide what's actually happening. That the fact that they might have this technology to fly around and look at us and keep tabs over us, and that secretly all the nations have worshipped the same gods that have done this since antiquity.
Well, and there's the fear element of that too. What a great way to keep people bought in to the idea of like traditional cosmology, but also fearful is that idea of you could a meteor could come and hit the Earth one day, and it could blow up a bunch of dust in the atmosphere, and then all life could be gone.
Right. Oh, dude.
AI Atlas or whatever it is now that everybody's talking about. You guys know what I'm talking about? That
What is
AI
that?
Atlas or whatever.
I don't know what that is.
3i Atlas, AI,
3i Atlas
Yeah.
is the alleged spacecraft that's coming to Earth.
Right. Well, I thought there was a meteor.
Dude,
Is that a spacecraft, not a meteor? I thought it was a meteor.
They don't know what it is the claim.
Yeah, so it's just like random stuff like that where they're like, it's a big thing. It could hit the Earth at any time. We don't know what it is.
Yeah, and of course they have to name it after, occult titans that used to hold up the world, and all, this alleged scientific establishment always loves to name stuff after pagan gods. But you're right, man. The fear of, what do they say happened with the dinosaurs? Oh, a big old meteor came in, hit the Yucatan, boom, everybody, set Earth back 60 billion years or whatever the heck they say. You're right. You've got all these movies. They even had a movie with a freaking DiCaprio and Katniss, whoever Katniss, what's her name? It doesn't matter. Jennifer Lawrence. All right, a movie about how Meryl Streep is. I hate Meryl Streep, but she's the president, right? And they got to save the Earth from a meteor, right? All that kind of predictive programming. Von Braun said to his secretary in the 1970s, Werner von Braun. He was the Nazi that we brought over here in Paperclip. For those who don't know that, Operation Paperclip. He was big in the founding of NASA. He was a freaking genius. When it comes to rocket propulsion. But anyway, he said to his secretary that they're going to push, he had a various timeline stages, and the second to last one was they're going to push meteors, and then the last one is they're going to push alien invasion, and it's all of it's a lie. And of course, his tombstone is Psalm 19:1, the heavens declare the glory of God, the firmament declareth his handiwork. But yeah, it's a way to, I don't know. Do the baby boomers even believe that a meteor is going to kill us all? It's a way to just instill
I think the baby boomers believe that, yeah.
Instill a lower vibration, even if you don't actually believe it. You're still having that little bit of fear, fight or flight or whatever, that it creates.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
I mean, to your point, they really are ramping up the alien stuff right now.
Yeah, how many?
Hard.
I mean, they had that yeah, really hard. It's especially in basically second half of Biden to right now. Didn't they have that fake Mexican cake? They thought it was an alien. It was a cake.
They've got aliens in Mexico. Oh wait, it's a cake.
What the heck? I mean,
that seems like a test to put that out there and see how many people in the public actually believe it.
Yeah, I mean that's just mockery or some kind of occult BS. But I mean, you've got that pill thing that the Pentagon generals talk about. I mean, aliens are totally mainstream. Trump even talked about it in Rogan.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, so
we're gonna release all the documents on the aliens.
So yeah, they're totally pushing that, and if they're pushing that, there's a reason for it, and it's all related to these ancient Babylon gods, I think. But yeah, man, I don't know. It seems eerily similar to the idea of directed energy weapons too. Can they have beams from the sky that can burn stuff up? That would be a third option. Just that on a humongous scale, or maybe they were testing that out in 1908. I don't know.
You're saying Russia had beams from the sky, or
well, yeah, but at that time Russia was still under imperialistic rule in the Romanovs.
Yeah.
But I mean, they all work together, man. I mean, the Romanovs are freaking cousins of the King of England, right? I don't know if you've ever seen that picture of George, whatever the F, whatever VIII, whatever George it is, kind of like Louis IX. Remember that speech from high school?
Yeah.
but they were I mean, they're all interrelated. They all married within their own family. There ain't any real difference in the governments, even though they just play like there is, as described in 1984. So they could have been testing out their technology back then. I shudder to think, if they got a hold of Tesla's stuff and perfected it, or maybe Tesla was working for them the whole time. I don't know.
I mean, that's a tough one to know. I don't know. That seems just so. The stories about the Tunguska event seem so extreme and so dramatic. I can't imagine that being like a man-made thing, as we know men now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I followed what you said, and I probably would lean that way too. But it could be possible because, and the reason I think it could be that is because they're not allowed to kill that many people, so they go test it out in a place where there is nobody. I mean,
I don't know.
maybe that part, maybe the placement of it is not a coincidence. But yeah, I would lean that it's I would lean in that way too, that it's either natural or that it's not man-made and it's from the other bloodline that's here.
Yeah, and it's weird what it's trying to emulate, because it's when I was listening to y'all talk, I just kept thinking about Elijah and the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel, and then obviously Sodom and Gomorrah and the fire that just came from the sky and destroyed those.
Yeah.
And it's it seems like they're in a way trying to emulate that in some sort of way.
Well,
because it's if you look at the damage of the Tunguska event, it's it's the same kind of style as what happened in that story of Elijah. It just destroyed everything in sight to nothing.
Consumed it all.
Yeah. So,
well, John, you saying that made me think of one of the eyewitness descriptions of it. He called it a pillar of fire.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Which is...
Well, and who's to say, we've been assuming that whoever, if this was produced, this explosion, this whatever disturbance, if it was produced, we've been assuming it was produced by an evil entity. What if it wasn't? Because, you son of a
That's...
like you were talking about, John.
Sorry.
We're
good.
Like you were talking about, God sending the flame down on the prophets of Baal during that story of Elijah and on Mount Carmel. What if it's something like that?
Dude, I hadn't even considered that, but think about it.
Some kind of divine fire or divine something sent from heaven.
Think about it. Could there be a civilization of people living in that remote area of Siberia in 1908 that the Romanovs, that the entire world had no idea was there? They still claim there's uncontacted tribes in the Amazon to this day, all right, that don't know nothing about nobody.
No.
Right? And so that's a good point, man. Maybe there was some rogue, evil civilization out there in the middle of Siberia and God took them down. I mean, it could be completely unrelated to the nefarious aspects of it all. So that's a good point, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, who does? No one knows.
Isn't it fun to talk about it, though? I'm bringing you around on it. I know. You got a little bit more.
I got a little bit more interested in it, but I still don't see the point.
Yeah, I mean,
you shouldn't have brought that up. No.
Now we're back to the somberness. I mean, there's no way to know, but it's still fun to talk about, I think. And it's a little, like I said at the beginning, it's a little more lighthearted than the other things we can talk about and know a little bit more about. So...
Yeah, I mean, it is very odd. I don't know. 800 square miles of forest being flattened is insane.
Yeah. And then a similar thing happens in 2013, but there's no damage to the landscape. It shattered some windows in several hundred buildings, but it didn't scorch the earth in the size of a county. And then, I didn't bring this up, in the 1950s, I've talked to you about this, there was a woman in Alabama who was sleeping on a recliner, and a meteor flew through her house and hit her in the leg. Now I didn't. Can you look this up, John? So Google woman in Alabama meteor falls 1950.
That is a lot.
Is that really? I don't feel like that was that much. Yeah, just meteor. That'll pick it up. Yeah. So all right.
Anne Elizabeth Fowler Hodges. That's a long name.
So, Good grief! It looked like it hit her in the hip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
That's a pretty wicked bruise. All right, so why didn't this meteor destroy Talladega County? and our blessed Dale would have never got to race there. Okay, how come a meteor blows up 800 and something things of forest in Russia, but when it hits Alabama, it just bruises this woman and punches a hole in her roof?
Well, I mean, different things are different, Like,
Where was
this
the airburst?
obviously not
Where was the airburst?
200 feet wide or whatever.
Then why did it make it at all?
Maybe it was just big enough to make it to her house.
Just the perfect size. It was the Goldilocks meteorite.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows?
I mean, I don't know, man. Did this one have what's that word? Iridium?
Iridium.
Did she sue somebody for this? Who are you gonna sue? What is this 500? What is this legal battle? Oh, to get the thing. I was like, I'm gonna sue space because I got hit by a meteor. They do that now.
They tried to take the meteorite from her, and she sued to get it back.
Weird.
That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe she didn't fully believe. Look at that. I mean, who knows if that picture's real? But man, that's a wicked bruise.
That is.
I don't know how. Did they say how big they thought the original thing was, or they just say, or just that was it?
This is it.
This is a slice of it.
Yeah. No, it doesn't say how big it was.
Just where's the airburst? I don't know. It's a lot of inconsistencies.
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody's suggesting they all do that. Just like not every plane that flies explodes, just some of them in September.
That's right. Not September 10th, but close to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, this is
Sucks that hit her. Her hip looks wrecked.
Yeah, I don't know. This has got all kinds of weird
All right.
things. It left a 3-foot wide hole in a roof. So compare a 3-foot wide hole in a roof in Alabama to 860 square miles of forest being.
If something leaves a 3-foot wide hole in her roof, she should be dead.
Yeah.
If that was falling from the sky.
I know. Why was this not going at Mach 80,000?
That smacked her in the hip.
Yeah, it's freaking. It's weird, dude. It's all got all kinds of weirdness.
Yeah, that is strange. I'll give you that. I don't know. This falling space rocks thing has gotten weirder and weirder over the years. What is chondrite?
This was the type of meteor that hit her.
Interesting.
And think about it. Like, go back, John. Can you go back to when exactly did this happen? Like, what was the exact date and year? 1954. So this is right before the founding of NASA. Right as like they were setting up Operation Fishbowl. I mean, heck, when was Operation Fishbowl, John? Can you look that up? Or it was part of Project Dominic. I mean, heck, this could have been literal piece of the dome that hit her because they were trying to blow the dome up above her, and that's why they wanted it.
1962.
Okay, so this is before.
Before
It
that.
was before that, but
Well
it was
before
still
that.
it was still around the same time they were like setting up NASA, like framing all of this for the space race. So this could be complete propaganda as well, and she could have been some kind of patsy. I mean, we just have no idea. I don't know. Just the inconsistencies in this and the Tunguska event seems pretty wild to me, but I don't know.
Meteorites are weird.
They are. They are. Meteorites are strange, and asteroids don't exist.
Okay.
Right? Isn't the difference is the asteroid is outside the atmosphere and the meteorite's in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's asteroid, meteor, and meteorite, right? And the meteorites are the ones that hit the ground. The meteors are the ones that hit the atmosphere.
The
and
meteoroid.
asteroid.
What's a
And then
meteoroid?
what?
What's a meteoroid?
I don't know.
Okay.
All right.
So there's not an asteroid either?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, you just seem to know, so.
Just remembering from third grade.
From the Kingfisher science book?
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so Tunguska.
It's weird.
It's weird.
Carson thinks probably that this is a pointless episode. I found it kind of fun.
It's weird that a lot of the people around there. So the people around there like had religious beliefs about it. Like the locals, they like a whole. According to the interviews they did with the people, they like thought it was like a spiritual event.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Like I would figure most of them would be Christians. Russian,
I don't know what the prevailing religion would have been around there
Russian-
in the early 1900s. I assume Christianity.
Yeah, Russian Orthodox.
Yeah.
For sure.
But they had built up, concocted some sort of like religious story about what happened. I don't recall it specifically, but
Yeah, I'd be interested in knowing that.
and I mean they did interviews with a lot of the locals around the area because how else are you going to learn about what happened? Granted,
Right, but
19 years later.
Yeah, it was so much later. And what, like I said, that's comes from the Soviets though. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's so much propaganda. I don't know, kind of hard to tell.
Another fun fact: Isaac Asimov had a long quote about the Tunguska explosion in a foreword he wrote for another science fiction author's book.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Asimov is like way big in there in the system. Man.
Yeah.
He's got like his family is like super old.
Yeah, so in the foreword for somebody's book, I think the book was written in the 70s, Asimov referenced the Tunguska explosion in his quote or foreword that he wrote for the guy.
Did not know that. That adds
Yeah.
even more shadiness. I mean, all right, look at this right here. The scientific community's consensus is that a meteorite impact caused a devastating event. How many times have we heard the scientific consensus is?
Yeah.
That lets you know right there it's not a meteorite impact that caused the devastating event. That's all you need to know.
It's such an easy way to try to wave dissenting voices away, to say, hey, authorities have a consensus. A bunch of just got together and agreed on something is all that means. And for the scientific community, right, quote unquote, like they all have something to gain by kind of sticking together, the people who are part of the establishment. That's what gives them power and authority, is if they all stick together and claim to have some kind of special knowledge. Even today, that's still true of academia.
Oh yeah, I mean,
and it was back then. And so, sure, they have a consensus.
Yeah, it's just confirmation bias. It's how they keep their funding going.
Yeah.
Ad infinitum. That's why peer review is so dumb. The whole
Peer review doesn't even really exist anymore. I mean, it's just a bunch of people jerking each other off in some of these journals.
Yeah, but if you think about how much how similar the scientific consensus is to the Pharisees described in the Bible. It's like you can't put one toe out of line or you're freaking disowned.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you look at science as a religion, they are the Pharisees of the Bible, insofar as they're the people, walking around claiming to be smarter than thou, holier than thou, whatever term you want to apply to it. And they keep that power by just staying together, jerking each other off, saying, "Oh yeah, we're all correct, we're all right," and it's ridiculous. And good luck. There are people out there who try to submit work to scientific journals, and often they're discredited as being, crackpots, simply because they're not part of the scientific establishment, the academic establishment. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was well said. And think how far they go, even beyond their alleged scientific responsibilities of figuring out what stuff is and how stuff works. And they go into moral authority almost. They're we have the best outlook for humanity, outlook for you, because we know about science. We know what the earth needs. We know what you need because you're too dumb to figure it out. So yield to the authority of the scientific priest. They've
That's why climate change is such a powerful thing to discuss.
Perfect example is climate change, and I guess you would call it reproductive guidelines, and then public health. That's another good one.
Yeah, it's another big one.
They have superseded the role of priest essentially, in dictating the will of their God to humanity. It's freaking crazy how similar it is to a religion, and how little stuff like that is just sprinkled into a random event from 1908, but just to reinforce the idea that science has got it figured out. It's no different than the freaking Catholic priest in the 1500s just explaining the Bible to you. It's no different.
Now that is interesting to me. Like the way that they sprinkle all of this. What's the adjective form of confirmation? Like all this stuff that confirms their agenda throughout the whole of history. Whether this actually did happen in 1908, whether it's a fabricated event, and some people just went out there and f***ed up the forest, like, who knows? But either way, like, we've got the answer because we did science, and we know it was a 200-foot meteor that came in at Mach 80. And we know because we did science, and you should trust science.
Yeah, man. How would you ever do science on that? Would you get your radar gun and point it at the thing in 1908, like the cops have? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And that's why, that's why at least, inquiry is useful in this regard. Maybe not speculation as to what happened, but just trying to figure, like, weeding out that it's not, that they don't have the answers to it is, I think, useful.
Well, that is borderline. Yeah.
Because once you pile that up, how many times does it take? 20, 30, 50? Once so many times that you've done this and this happens, you can hopefully see the pattern and realize all they do is lie. What they say happened is either a 100% lie or a misleading of the truth designed to put your energy and thoughts into a certain direction. So therefore, like, call them out on their lies and don't give in to what they want later on. I mean, that's what we, as in this conspiracy world, have done a horrible job at. Like think of the CK situation that happened 4 weeks ago. How that captivated all of, I don't know if we're allowed to say that.
I think you can say his name.
Especially on our
The
brand.
Charlie Kirk situation?
Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't want to flag our new Twitter and get us banned.
I don't think that'll happen.
All right, well, I tried to avoid it, so if it happens, let it be on you, Carson. Anyway, think about how we, put so much energy into that.
Yeah.
And how it consumed everything. Even though we know, based on investigating stuff like this, and, this is just one in a list of, literally hundreds.
The Tunguska Explosion?
Yeah. Yes, that's what I meant by this.
Yeah.
Yes, that was the antecedent. That it's just the official story is a lie.
Yeah.
It happens every single time. The official explanation is a lie. Therefore, if we're presented with something new, what's the most likely thing? The official situation is a lie. If they're lying, they're lying for a reason, and it's in the next level up, and John has alluded to this, is to pick out the reason and not give it energy. And that's where stuff like this is useful. Maybe speculation is not. It's a lot of fun. And I'll agree with you. It's not practical. It's not useful. It's fun. But the useful part is they're lying. You got to figure that out. They're lying to us.
Yeah, you're right. For the normies, I think the biggest problem is just the fact that eventually we reach a point where you're uncomfortable, right, with questioning your reality, and then the Neil deGrasse Tysons of the world start repeating themselves and saying some blip on a computer screen means X, Y, or Z that's impossible for most people to understand. And so it's difficult coming from that perspective, growing up in a world where you're told to believe all this, to just, throw all that out the window. Furthermore, you're also, for a lot of people, and I think this is what stops most people from questioning things like the Tunguska event or even the nature of, where we are. Is the earth flat? Keeps people from engaging in those things is not just the idea of questioning authority, not just the idea of, questioning some of these foundational beliefs we've had, but it becomes a social issue. And people are threatened with the eradication of their social circle if they hold certain beliefs in a lot of cases. You're a flat earther. How many people have looked at you like you're insane out there?
Yeah.
And for people who aren't as comfortable with being to some degree potentially a social outcast, questioning the idea of, was this a meteorite that exploded over Tunguska is tantamount to social suicide. And I think that's one of the biggest things that stopped it. I mean, you and I have both had conversations with people where maybe you're talking to somebody like at work or at church, and you start talking about like something real for a little bit, and you can see that spark of like questioning, and then they shut it down because what if I say this in front of the wrong person, and people at school or at church or at work think I'm an insane person, don't want to talk to me anymore.
Yeah, there's a lot of social pressure in questioning the narrative, but why is that though?
Yeah, and that's the next question: is why does that exist? Yeah,
it's because it's freaking engineering, man. It's like herding cattle. They know our nature, and they know how to keep us in line through our own pressure. It's truly bizarre. That's why the truth is so freaking powerful. Because, like, in the same way that, as I have been a flat earther and have got, probably have people have gone away from that or think I'm crazy or whatever.
Yeah.
And that just as many people, when I'm expressing my beliefs passionately, have been gravitated towards that and want to hear more. It's like,
well, it's not the actual practicality of this situation. It's the fear, I think, more than anything. It's the fear for most people.
And there's kind of two things going on. All right, two things kind of come to my mind when you were talking through all that. Number one, why, even if something is true or false, or you're just presented with new information, why can you not suspend your beliefs before making any kind of decision? Why is suspension of a belief such a hard thing to do? Right? It's been said, and I don't know who said this. Was it Einstein? He was a J degenerate. But anyway, I almost said the word on our brand new Twitter account.
You did say the word.
I did.
I heard it.
You did.
Okay. Well, he was.
You recovered in the worst way possible.
Anyway,
it's like he was a degenerate.
Well,
terrible recovery.
Well, Carson, we're even. Anyway, the quote, no matter who said it, is true. Right. It's the mark of an intelligent mind to be able to entertain a thought without believing it. So, like,
right.
If you were to take the Tunguska explosion, right? In your mind, if the Tunguska explosion was not what they said it was, what would that mean about the world I live in?
Yeah.
Why can't people go through that thought exercise without making a decision? That's what's freaking crazy, man. That's where there's some kind of metaphysical Westworld type thing going on, some kind of Lord of the Flies crap.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have plenty of things that I've thought about, that I don't believe in. For example, is the God of the Old Testament Satan?
Yeah.
Gnostics believe that. Whom? Why do they believe that? Let me learn about this and then make a decision.
Yeah.
I'm going to decide no. People can't even go that far, right? Because something's shutting them down. It's some kind of like I don't even know how to some kind of like they're like a robot, dude.
And you could see it. You could see it when it happens.
Yeah.
Like you can hear it in their voice. I've had many a conversation with people about spirituality, whatever it happens to be, and you start approaching that discussion, whether it's the God of the Old Testament, which is a fascinating one to talk about, whether it's the Tunguska Explosion, whether it's flat, like pick a thing.
Right.
They reach a point where we can't even hypothetically entertain this thought anymore.
Right. And dude, yeah, and let's talk about a super specific example that's going to resonate with you immediately. If you were to bring up to anybody in our circle growing up that, hey, what if the Trinity's not real?
Right.
Boom,
Yeah.
you're excommunicado.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I can suspend my belief and be like, what if that is actually the case? I don't believe that's the case.
But what if it is?
But what if it is? Let me try to understand it from their point of view, see if they're right or wrong. It's crazy why that can't happen to anything. To a lesser extent, that happens with the Quran. What if the Quran? It's just wild that they've got us so conditioned on our beliefs that like we tie our identity to our belief, and we can't even entertain the idea of perhaps this is not the case, because then you'll rip yourself apart. It's like a freaking Horcrux.
Yeah.
Like it's simple. The simplest way to say it is, to a normie, you can ask, what would you feel like if you didn't have breakfast this morning? And all the normie can say is, but I had breakfast this morning.
Right.
That's essentially what's going on
That's a good
on a
point.
gigantic scale.
That's a good analogy.
It's like, why they can't even operate in the hypothetical, especially the baby boomers. But I don't know.
I've heard you do that before, but I think that's just your autism, not your inability to think.
rant over there.
No, I mean, you make a good point. It's this. Is it an unwillingness or a legitimate inability to question held beliefs?
Dude, that's one of the biggest questions of life right
Yeah.
there.
Because I can't tell with some people, and I have honestly gotten tired of and stopped talking to a host of people in my life because of that. Because we'll start discussing something that's maybe, a little spiritually out there, scientifically out, like something that's just different than what good people in the South would talk about. And you hear for the millionth time, that canned response. And it's almost like the same response you got during 2020 when people are like, oh, that's dangerous. That's dangerous information. That's a dangerous thing to consider. That's a dangerous thing to talk about. How dare you? That's bad, It's almost the same concept. That's a dangerous thought to entertain. How dare you entertain that thought? And I don't know that I think there is such a thing as a dangerous thought, like a dangerous thought exercise in that context.
Yeah.
So I don't know how people end up in that space.
It's so crazy, like in this. I don't know either, man. It's tied to just like conditioning as a child. It's got to be just
because like to your point,
and fear
about the Trinity. I've had discussions with people, a lot of like regular Southern church people about like the Bible, and I'm like, it's good. Is the Bible like the most important thing though, or is it the stuff like is it the actual message of the Bible? Like, could we throw out the Bible, keep the message, and be okay? And it's an interesting thought exercise, I think, but we couldn't even consider that concept. Like, we couldn't even talk about it.
Yeah.
Because it was too dangerous.
Which is wild in the context of this is a slight tangent, but in the context of the Bible, they had no Bible, so therefore your argument's right.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I thought it was like a safe subject to broach, but it's a great example of how we couldn't even have the discussion because the idea was too dangerous.
Yeah, man. I mean, think about how crazy it is that you can talk about. Like, you can kind of talk about this in mainstream Protestantism that, what if God's not real? We've got all kinds of apologetics, which is good stuff, by the way. I agree with a lot of the stuff that they talk about. But if you say, well, what if the Trinity's not real? Completely different reaction as opposed to, what if God's not real, which is really interesting.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know who makes these damn rules. Like, there's not a rule book for me to follow, and so I'm legitimately afraid to talk around some people sometimes because you've heard me talk before. I don't know what the I'm going to say half the time, and what if I accidentally do? Broach the wrong side. It's who writes. How do these things come about? I'm so lost when it comes to these kind of discussions.
Like, anybody raised in a like a Western Christian tradition can pick it out easily and like, well, what if there's more books of the Bible? But the same thing freaking happens in every aspect of anything.
Any culture, any religion, anything you can think about, there are always those like no the that you can't discuss.
Right. And I mean, that's how you know that there's like a deeper religion in play because this dogma is all part of religion. Right?
Yeah.
Just a doctrine that you can't question.
And I think that's the unifying thread for whatever the bad entity is that's affecting things on this plane. You talk about like that same thread that's woven through every culture, every science discussion, every religion, and you can't question, certain things. I think that maybe, as we're talking about this, is the work of whatever evil entity is pushing things in the wrong direction here on the earth.
Right, dude. Oh, that was.
I think that's the hallmark of what it's doing here. Is if you can't question it, if you can't talk about it, that is a space where the adversary has found some solid footing to be able to affect negative change.
Yeah, and why would the adversary want that? Because because let's think about what God says. He says to test all things, man.
Right.
He wants us to test it.
Yeah.
Because the truth will hold up to all testing, all questioning. It will come out in the wash, as the rednecks say. But the adversary, like you were saying, he don't want you to wash.
Yeah.
He wants you to just, hey, you've already got it's all clean, it's all good, all ready to go.
Yeah.
You don't have to do nothing.
Right.
So that, yeah, you're absolutely right. The connecting thread through it all is that lack of autonomy to be able to make your own choice, which is what the Creator wants. He wants us to choose Him.
Yeah. Well, not even it's even less dramatic than it's just being able to question. It's not even making a choice.
Well, isn't that a choice, I guess?
Well, I guess okay. Insofar as you're making the choice to question, I guess that's true. Yeah. Okay. See your point.
Yeah, but it is like a multiple step choice, because questioning it is a whole nother exercise. That's the first exercise, which is like most people never get into. But once you start doing it, then you're at the next level. But then there's a whole nother realm of fear, a whole nother realm of satanic control. All these gatekeepers are coming in. What are you going to do about it?
Right.
And that's a whole nother thing where they've got funnels for that.
Yeah.
So it's such a freaking inverted, nasty fractal,
Kind of is, yeah.
Which that's all the adversary can do, is just invert the Creator's structure down to the very geometry of everything, using us, using our image, our power of Him that's in us. There's a kernel of truth to this New Age stuff. We aren't Him, but we have some of His power. Even Jesus has said that.
Right.
So freaking wild world we live in. We're really far off of the Tunguska Explosion.
Yeah, we made a large switch there, but I found that more interesting.
Well, I mean, it's one of the 200 something things you can think of that can lead you to that point. So
yeah, I think you just learned why questioning some of this stuff is valid, because
maybe
questioning this
led to this discussion.
Yeah, led to that. So
all right, me. All right, cool. There we go. Heard.
Yeah, man, they got giant spaceships potentially screwing up and blowing up forests. They could have had dudes in 1908. Could be some kind of electric something. God could have smited Siberia. That's also an option that Carson brought up that I failed to consider. But I kind of like that one.
That's a fun one. That's a fun one. Yeah.
It is.
Lightning from heaven blew up Siberia.
Yeah, maybe they were Sodom and Gomorrah out there in the taiga.
Yeah.
So, who knows, man?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they did send a bunch of criminals into Siberia. And maybe they gathered together in some kind of secret camp.
Just butt fucking in the middle of Siberia.
Jesus,
just a real Sodom and Gomorrah type thing.
Well,
that was the problem with Sodom and Gomorrah. What else do you want from me?
Yeah, but that was, I guess that was direct.
Yeah. I'm nothing if not direct.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Wild stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, I feel like this came around.
Yeah.
There might be some just awkward pauses in the middle that we'll have to cut out, but
well, we were watching a video for a while, so that kind of sucks for the Spotify and Apple Podcast listeners. Just imagine fireballs in the moments of silence. Just imagine fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what they won't see is me trying to refocus the main cam and knocking it over and catching it. So
there you go.
Nets out.
Balances out.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, boys?
Yeah, just follow our new account.
Oh, yeah. Please do that, because we need you to.
Yeah, screw you, Elon.
Right.
We need some more money now. We just blew some more money on Twitter Premium, so now we need the blue check mark and YouTube Premium. So give us money to our PayPal.
Yeah, we have a PayPal link. We also have, if you want to subscribe to our Patreon, we're going to start releasing unedited episodes there. So be on the lookout for those, as well as some additional content coming there soon as we figure out what the hell we're going to put there.
That's right.
But it is coming.
And I guess to wrap it all up in a nice bow, anytime you see a fireball in the sky, it ain't a space rock. Perhaps God is smiting. Perhaps it's a laser. Just know it's not a rock.
All right. Thanks for listening, folks. We'll catch you next time. Love you guys.